Hi, sorry about that. Can you hear me okay? Okay, they had me set up in the room next door, and so there's a little bit of snafu. I really, really apologize. But I'm excited to be here and have things set up. Before I jump into things, I'd just like to get to know this room a little bit better. How many of you develop mobile games? Okay, how many are doing web games? Anybody here a console developer? No, okay, so mainly mobile, great. How many of you have integrated Facebook SDK or login in your mobile games? Okay, good, some basic familiarity. How many of you have developed a game for Facebook Canvas? Has anybody done that? I think 3 people, maybe. Awesome. Okay, great. Well, I'm going to try and tailor my presentation for that. I'll definitely make this more of a mobile focus. And I think this will be really good. So a bit about me. So I head up Facebook's gaming sales for emerging markets. I have a big focus on India, Southeast Asia, and then Australia for us is actually an emerging market in terms of developer talent and quantity. So that's my focus, and then I also work in the Greater China region. And I've been with Facebook for about a year now, but my claim to fame is that I was originally an intern at Facebook in 2005 and 2006. So Dustin Moskovitz, if you remember from the Social Network movie, he was my boss, and so I worked with him for about a year before leaving, and now I'm back at Facebook in Asia. So I'm really excited to be here with you today. Before I jump into things, I just want to start off by talking about a couple trends that I'm seeing in the industry to help put this all in a broader context and then help us think about what that means to you when you're thinking about developing games using social logins or social interaction for your games, and then how we can all better use that to market our games and acquire new users. So the first trend that I'm noticing today is that, actually it's not a trend, it's my first observation. So my first observation is that technology changes faster than people. So this is kind of a funny way to start off, but I think it's really, really important context to have. This is my brief history of humanity here in terms of technology. And you'll see, starting off, I think the first communication technology we ever saw was back in 30,000 BC, was cave paintings. That was the first time people ever externalized what they were saying or thinking and put it into a medium that could be distributed and lots of people could see it. And from there, we have the Chinese script, and even in the scale of this, the alphabet is actually pretty recent. It's a pretty new invention in the broad scale of things. And then all of a sudden, we pick up with a lot of development in the 1900s. So, the telegraph, the telephone, the internet, these were practically invented yesterday, and if you think about it in the scale of technological advancement. So we can see that the rate of technological change is actually increasing. It's moving really, really fast. At Facebook, we talk about moving fast, and that's because with the rate of change, with the advent of internet and then cloud and then mobile, the shift to mobile, things are moving really, really fast, and so technology companies are having to keep up with a lot. Turns out the gaming industry also saw a similar sort of development curve, where you have your first board game in Egypt in 3500 BC, and then you have your first dice game, which is actually in Mesopotamia, and it goes on and on from there. The first playing cards were in China in about 1000 BC, and then all of a sudden in the 1900s, you have this explosion of development in game technologies. You've got the first RPG was really developed in the 1920s. Then you had the first patent for a video game console. That was in 1947. That was the first patent for an electronic device that can be manipulated by a controller, the precursor to a video game. And then all of a sudden, you see a lot of advancements. So similar to technology in general, the pace of gaming technology is accelerating. And we're seeing a lot of development, and that development's happening really, really quickly. Which brings me to my next point, which is that we need to focus on people, not technology. It's really, really tempting to think about technology, but I'd encourage you not to. And that's because the tech conversations you're having today are going to be totally obsolete 2 years from now. But the way that people think, the way people are motivated, the things that get people to play your game those mechanisms, those aren't going to change. Those won't change in our lifetimes. And so it's really important to understand people and then build that into your game mechanisms, to build that into how you're using technology. So we've established that technology moves fast and that it's moving faster as time goes on. I'd like to share a quote with you. It says, "This new technology will produce forgetfulness of those who learn to use it because they will not practice their memory. You offer the appearance of wisdom, but not true wisdom." Any guesses on who said that? I've got t-shirts to encourage participation. Any guesses? Wow. This is the first time I've never seen t-shirts motivate people. Well, it sounds like it could be the New York Times talking about the internet, right? Like, because of Google and search, we're never going to remember anything anymore. But actually, actually, this was Plato. This was Plato talking about the alphabet. He was so convinced that us writing things down would totally ruin the way people thought. And his buddy Socrates actually thought the same thing. And Socrates was so adamant about it that he refused to have any of his teachings written down. I'm glad Plato actually wrote things down, because now I can have this quote to share with you. But the important thing that we learn here is that people always take the way they think about existing technologies and apply that to emerging technologies. So if you look back at all of these technologies and the way they've been adopted, I realized that the same thing has happened again and again and again. And that is that people apply the way they work with the existing technology to the new one. So think back about the alphabet. When the alphabet was invented, pretty much people wrote down what they spoke, because that was their existing technology at the time. Or think about the printing press. When the printing press was invented, the first things that were printed weren't books that you could carry around and read on the go. No, they were huge tomes, because that was what the monks were copying by hand before the printing press. So the printing press, this great revolution, for the first 20 years, they printed out books that you could hardly even lift. So they weren't really taking grasp of that new technology. They looked at the existing media and applied it to the new technology. This might be my favorite example of this. This is Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone. And when he first invented the telephone, he pitched it as a broadcasting device, because that's what he understood. He was looking at newspapers and the rise of mass media, and his pitch was that you could put the phone up in front of a speaker, and then people could dial in from other locations and listen to that speaker. The idea of real-time two-way communication didn't even occur to him, and it didn't get adopted for about 10 years after the telephone first became widely available. And actually, gaming is very, very similar. So this is the first computer game that most people came into contact with. Instead of taking advantage of a mouse and buttons, arrows, what did they do? They took cards and they just stuck it on the screen. They were really not taking advantage of the new medium. You think about the first game, some of the first games that were popular on iPhones, it wasn't a game that took advantage of the touch interface, it was Tetris. They just ported Tetris onto an iPhone, and then they were like little fake buttons, even though the phone had no buttons. So people apply the way they think about existing media to the new medium. Take the internet, for example. With the advent of the internet, first it was just a directory. They took phone books and yellow pages and put it online so you could click through. Then the internet evolved into search, so you could look for something among that massive information. And finally, the next evolution you're seeing is that the internet is becoming social, where people are actually digitizing the graph around them and putting it online and mapping those relationships. So people always apply the way they work with existing technology to the new one. So now I want to talk about 3 technologies in gaming, or technological shifts in gaming that are happening today that I really don't want you to miss the boat on. I don't want you to use the way you're currently thinking today to think about these new things coming up in the games industry. No, so don't make this mistake. So first is customized digital experiences. With gaming today, or the internet today, everybody is used to having a customized experience. So this is my Amazon from about 2 years ago. Amazon got pretty good at having an algorithm based on my purchases and based on my searches. So here they think I'm really into Asian cooking. But that's really because I was trying to buy a friend for my aunt who wanted a cookbook about Asian food, because I live in Singapore. And so I searched for a lot of Asian cookbooks. So this isn't a real representation of me, but it's a pretty good guess, because that's something I had historically been interested in. This is Amazon today that pulls in data from my Twitter feed, pulls in data from my Facebook likes. They know me very well. They know I really like to listen to Justin Timberlake. They know I love Breaking Bad, which is a great TV show. They know I really like the Colbert Report. This is a better user experience for me, and this is what users have come to expect. Google's the same way, right? You go to download an app, you can see exactly which apps your friends have used, which ones they've recommended, and then it also gives you predictions based on all of that. So, because everybody's used to having customized digital experiences, your games should do the same thing. Games should be social by design. The next shift I'm seeing in the gaming industry is that technology is going mobile. You all know this. By 2016, 45% of the world will have a smartphone. The number of time spent on mobile devices is increasing. More people access the internet through mobile devices than they do on desktops now. I mean, this is crazy. So the internet is shifting to mobile. That means games should also be shifting to mobile. And that's already started to happen. So now 70% of all gamers play on their mobile devices in their home. There's 4 times more spending just through Google Play alone. This isn't even counting iOS on mobile games versus other outside gaming consoles. And finally, 36% of mobile game spending is projected to be 36% larger than console gaming by 2016. So this rise of mobile gaming is happening really, really fast. So your games, instead of just being mobile as an afterthought, need to be mobile first and mobile best. Finally, the last trend that I'm seeing, and this is more of a shift in business models, but there's some underlying technology that's made this possible, is the rise of microtransactions. This is the Q1 2013 mobile game revenue. This is the first time that more than 50% of all revenue for gaming, this is worldwide gaming revenue, including console gaming, including PC gaming, is now done by microtransactions. This is the 99-cent payment. That's now 51% of all gaming, and that's growing 20% year over year. So this rise of microtransactions means a free-to-play model, which is established and it's expanding. So you see great titles such as the Star Wars Old Republic are now free-to-play. And EA is also rolling out microtransactions. This is something you're going to continue to see. So the way you need to adapt to this is you need to change your business model and make your games free to play. So these are the 3 trends that I'm seeing in the gaming industry. Please don't make the mistake of taking the way you look at existing technology and applying them to these trends, because I think you'll miss the boat. And you're already starting to see old studios shut down because they weren't able to jump on mobile or they weren't able to shift to the free-to-play model. So to adapt to customized digital experiences, your games need to be social by design. They need to be mobile first and mobile best. And you need to embrace the free-to-play business model. Which brings me to Facebook. Where does Facebook sit within all of this? I'm really, really excited to be at Facebook because I think that Facebook has a unique solution to help you with all 3 of these challenges. First is social by design. This is a sticker that you see all over Facebook headquarters, or a poster that we see. And it's kind of a mantra of ours because when you think about games and creating social games on the Facebook platform or on mobile, it's very important to have social be at the core of them. So through Facebook, you can have customizable social experiences for apps that you integrate with the Facebook platform if you use the Facebook SDK or Facebook login. The SDK will give you access to be in bookmarks within the Facebook app itself. It'll let your app get discovered on search on Facebook. It will give you newsfeed distribution, which is the most engaging space on the internet, and it will also let you be discovered in the Facebook App Center. So Facebook login is the first step to enable all of Facebook's mobile functionalities. What it is your gateway to the user's identity. You can get things like the user's birthday, their friends. You can have information like their email address. All of this enables you to understand your users better, but also target them better, monetize them better. This will also let you appear in search and then get distribution. Next is, in terms of strategies and how to actually do this, you can optimize the login placement for your game. Make it prominent. You can upsell the value of connecting. So some games offer special features if you connect to Facebook. I think just getting to play against your friends in a game is good enough motivation in and of itself a lot of the time. Next is Facebook offers a lot of organic distribution channels. We kind of lump these into 3 buckets. First is requests, second is feed, and third is open graph. So requests. I'm sure you've all gotten requests to play maybe Candy Crush. I think there have probably been like 2 billion of those sent out or something. But you can get requests from your friends, or you can request your friends to give you gifts. That works for both mobile apps, and like in the case of Candy Crush, or also games on Canvas. So the way that works, just for anybody who's not familiar with that, is that you can send a request, then the user would receive a push notification on their phone, and then within the Facebook app, there'd also be a light-up notification jewel. From that jewel, the user would then be able to appear in the notification list, and if it's a mobile app, it would send you directly to the app on their phone. But it also works cross-platform. So if the app is online, then it could send you to the web game or to the Facebook Canvas game. So from there, we'll launch the native mobile app if the user already has it installed. If it's not installed, we'll send you to the App Store where they can download the game, or we'll send it straight to Google Play. It's a very frictionless process. They don't even need to fully exit the Facebook app experience, so it's not disruptive to users. Second is feed. For organic distribution, feed is very, very powerful. This is how your game can go viral on Facebook, and you can acquire users organically. So the way feed works is that within your game, be it on Canvas or on mobile, if their user does a certain achievement or passes a friend, etc., they're able to post that back to their newsfeed and post it on their profile. This can be very, very powerful. So when people post about game interaction on their feed, then other people can see it, comment, like, and share. And that's how games can go viral. It's very important to pick interesting moments to share and to include great imagery. That's what will get good traction on Facebook. Finally is Open Graph. So this is how you can distribute things more broadly. So through Facebook's APIs, we let you define custom actions that can be tailored to your game. So instead of just like, comment, or share, those are the standard actions on Facebook, you could say you could smash a friend, which is the example that we use in our sample game. And so you can define custom actions, and then that can also get organic and paid distribution on Facebook. So this lets people publish to both a user's profile or their timeline, but it also lets you just publish in feed, so you can have summary feed stories that you'll often see in newsfeed, like a whole group of stories about people playing Candy Crush. What this does is it represents core gameplay interactions, and it allows you to differentiate your game, because not all developers are able to do custom Open Graph actions. So this works from native apps to native apps, Canvas to native, native to Canvas, et cetera, and we see that cross-platform integration is very powerful for driving strong user engagement. So this is very powerful, and a lot of developers already know this. 8 of the top 10 of the top grossing iOS apps are already integrated with Facebook, and 9 of the top 10 Android apps are integrated with Facebook. And based on the raise of hands, I think a lot of you understand this and are already integrated with Facebook. Next, mobile first, mobile best. Facebook has had to make this shift. We started out as a company that developed on the web platform. We had a great website. But now the majority of our users are actually using Facebook on mobile phones. So this is a shift that we've had to make too. Now we have 819 million people use Facebook on mobile devices every month. And that's growing 50% year over year. So for us, this change is accelerating. More than that, mobile users tend to check Facebook 10 to 15 times a day. So they're not only using it every day, but they're actually using it a lot every day. Facebook is also where they spend the most time. Even though our desktop usage is waning as people shift to mobile, people still use Facebook on the desktop site more than any other property online. And on mobile, that lead is even more exaggerated. So almost a quarter of all time spent on mobile is spent on Facebook. In India, this is also true. In India, we have 82 million monthly active users using Facebook, monthly active users, and 62 million are using it on mobile. That's a huge percentage of users in India that are using it on mobile. So that's the best place to reach them. And interestingly enough, 58% of people in India say that Facebook is the first place they hear about events or games or news even. And 75% of Indian users say that Facebook is their main communication channel with friends and family. So Facebook is very, very important in India, and it's an important way for you to have mind share with your users. Finally, the free-to-play business model. What this really means is that you need to focus on having, first, massive distribution, and second, careful monetization. So in terms of massive distribution, you honestly can't beat Facebook. We have 1.19 billion desktop and mobile monthly active users. That's the largest network of connected individuals in the world, and 819 million mobile active users. In India, more time is spent on Facebook than any other property too. So the average Indian user spends 3.25 hours, almost 3.5 hours on Facebook every single month. But more than that, Facebook is actually the largest global gaming network, and people generally don't realize this. So almost 1 in 5 Facebook users actually plays games on Facebook. That's much larger than any of the other global gaming networks. More than that, Facebook actually is very powerful in terms of paid acquisition. So every month we send 263 million referrals to the App Store or Google Play. So we're able to help you get very, very massive distribution. In terms of monetization, there are a lot of examples of companies that have used Facebook as a tool to help